Okay.
Sir, we have 1 minute. Sir, we have 1 minute.
Good morning. I'm Ranganathan here. Again, back with you for the 8th team presentation. Today, during the 70th year anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and India. So this year we are planning to have 50 teams presented on 50 weeks. So this is the 8th week we are making the 8th presentation. Today's theme is Japan's postal history, or Japan Post through Japanese stamps. Okay, we have got 4 important corners are being occupied by 4 important things. On the right, you have the Japan postal mark, a bar above T. We'll also tell you why it is. On the left-hand side top, you have Maejima-san, who is supposed to be the father of Japan Post. And down below on the left, you have 4 stamps. The first stamp is called the Dragon series. That is the first stamp that in 1871 Japan first created. And on the right-hand side, once the postal systems developed, the postman who carried the post. Before that, it is a different thing. We'll also tell you how that history is. These are the 4 people who are important to us. I mean, 2 people and 2 things, which we have put on the first slide. Okay. Now, the first official Japanese system of delivering messages was set up in the 7th century. Okay, that was based on a model in Tang, China. It consisted of series of postal stations. Japanese, they say station is eki and spaced approximately 16 kilometers apart. Couriers relay the messages from one station to the next along the fixed line. And it is like a relay race. The runners are ready. They take over from this man. And it is said very interestingly, like a relay race, as they see this man coming with the post, he starts running, he runs along with them and passes, so that they waste no time on changing the things or any such thing that will delay the process. In the middle of the 19th century, there were multiple public and private delivery services, all based on this station system and serviced by foot couriers who came to be known as Hikiaku. Hikiaku literally means flying legs. Hikiaku, maybe they seem to be very rough but very colorful characters who expected everyone to get out of their way because they run to a time. Even when there was this sort of a system, they maintain the time. And when I talk about some of the timings that they maintain, you'll be surprised. They ran the routes in pairs. There will always be 2. So once somebody is there, the other man immediately takes over. And they were scantily clad only on the loin cloth. They didn't have, you can see the person on top, only on the loin cloth, carrying a mail in a wooden box that was on a shoulder pole. So that's what they were running. And then Hikiaku couriers in Japan who carried letters, documents, bills, exchanges, they were all using packages, using a system of relay stations under the Bakufu. Bakufu is a military government beginning the Kamakura period. That's the time Bakufu system has come. Gradually, that yielded to more of a modern system later. There were 3 systems simultaneously, one run by the shogunate, the Bakufu, or the military government, another by the feudal lords called the daimyos, and third by private companies, all with regularly spaced relay stations along Japan's main highways. The Hikiaku network developed because the Tokugawa shogunate, that's a military feudal government, had the need to send documents all over Japan. But the civil servant merchants soon used the Hikiaku as well, as for good reasons. The service is incredibly efficient. When they say there's a fixed time, they'll deliver on the time. And the Hikiaku could cover about 125 miles every 24 hours. It's not the same person who is running. There are about 16 stations. So they change, but they maintain 24 hours to deliver 125 miles, making them more speedy than messenger systems anywhere at that time in Europe or US. That is a Japanese efficiency, we should say. Then Hikiaku or a mail delivery runner, you can see him on the thing, just with a loin cloth. And 16th to 18th century, they ran on foot or rode horses later to deliver letters, money, or even items between Kyoto and Edo. That Edo was the Tokyo. The fastest time they could deliver was in 72 hours. If you look at for the loin cloth and box, you can often pick up Hikiaku out in the 19th century woodblock prints. There used to be a lot of them. I put one of those woodblock prints down below, where you can see two Hikyaku running at the back. And the very interesting thing, those days, it was said, okay, if somebody is able to touch and the loincloth of a Hikyaku, their love will get succeeded. So many women used to wait, who were all in love, to get their, go and touch the guy's loincloth. During the Asuka period, government established a system called 5 home provinces and 7 circuits, served by messengers known as Ekishi. Eki is again station who carried speed post station bells. So once they go on the Ekirei, when they run the bells, people know, okay, the mail has come. You can see down below this thing, where a pair of Hikyaku are running at breakneck speed. And they were a part of this 100 Views of Mount Fuji series. In 1696, it took 96 hours a letter to go from to Osaka. Now Shinkansen is able to do it much more within 3.5 hours. Express service took 82 hours, but the right incentives delivery could be achieved even within 60 hours. Even when the prince of the empire, if he met a Hikyaku on the road, the right of way is for the Hikyaku, and the prince and his whole train must make sure they step out and give unobstructed passage to the postman. This is as per the book called Manners and Customs. On the page 220, it is written that even the prince has to give way to a Hikyaku. That is what the system worked like. The Hikyaku system reached a degree of sophistication that led to Japanese letter writing era beginning about 1721. When somebody asks, why are you climbing Mount Fuji? Fuji is there for us to climb. That's why we are climbing. So like that, why are you writing letters? No, there is a system to deliver letters. So the letter writing started with this delivery system at the back of it. Okay. Done. It is customary to prepare letters. This is again when the service was on, to prepare the letters. How do we hand over these letters to the courier? How do they come to you? When the courier called and hand them over to him on his return. So he comes, brings mail from Osaka. He returns to Osaka with mail from Tokyo. In Edo, in Tokyo, an open straw bag was fixed at the edge of Nihonbashi Bridge. Nihonbashi is supposed to be the center of Tokyo. Even they say Nihonbashi Bridge is the one where 00 of all the mileages start in Japan. Okay, in morning, announcing the arrival of the express messenger from Osaka. Those who want to send a letter to Osaka would put it in a bag with a fixed fee attached to it, and in the evening, the messenger would take the bag, fully swollen with the mail and money, and immediately start his return journey to Osaka. Untiring guys who will do that. This is on a thing called system of communication at the time of Meiji Restoration. Now, you'll be surprised. Japan is known as a country of vending machines. Every corner there is a vending machine because there's nobody who breaks the vending machines. That's one of the reasons. And there are egg vending machines, banana vending machines, umbrella vending machines, even vending machines that give you mystery gifts. In fact, there are estimated 5 million plus vending machines are scattered throughout the country, in city corners, everywhere, in train stations and inside running trains, even inside running trains like Shinkansen and other trains, and even in restaurants. Even in Meiji period, look at the beautiful finish of this. This is a stamp vending machine of the Meiji period. So once you're there, the stamp comes out, you take it and go away. So this is almost in 1904, 37th year of Meiji era. This stamp vending machine came into existence. Now, if you see today, there is Takyubin. You give this a mail delivery or parcel delivery, there's a system, and there's a company, private company, which is called a Sagawa Express. Okay, they have painted a Hikyaku on their trucks. So it's a major transportation logistic company, but still they think that the Hikyaku did a good job. So that guy has got to be recognized. So his picture is there. The company corporate mascot is Hikyaku Kun, a cartoon-like depiction of the traditional food courier. And it's much more than a journey as it runs with a red fundoshi. Fundoshi is the loincloth. Okay. Now, the story of Japan's postal system with its postage stamps and related postal history goes back to centuries. The countries today, if you look at all that, the modern system, when the postal stamps are coming to it, 2021, that is last year, was the 150th year that was celebrated. Okay. Now, country's first modern postal service got started in 1871 with mail professionally traveling between Kyoto and Tokyo, as well as later city and Osaka. Okay. It took place in the midst of rapid industrialization and social recognition, reorganization that the Meiji period symbolized in Japanese history. See, if you look at Japanese history, Meiji's period is the time when the Western education, industrialization, postal system, trade system, many of them came into the country, and Japan was very good. They had because they could assimilate these things very easily. The reason why they could assimilate them is that they had a base. They had a base, and then Japanese were very fond of education, seeing anything and accepting it and taking it. Okay, the Japanese railways in infancy, Japan's growing postal system relied heavily on human transport, including rickshaws, as well as horse-drawn methods of delivery. Commemorating the 50th anniversary of Japan's postal service, government released decorative postcards depicting the horseback riders carrying the mail. There is a ukiyo-e thing. Ukiyo-e shows you mailman coming on a horse. Okay, there are rickshaws going on, and then he's coming to collect posts. Now, if you see, these are some very beautiful postcards. Unfortunately, very difficult to get them. And then on the top, you have the father of Japanese post, Maejima-san, is there. And then this is a commemorative postcard of the 50th anniversary. And on the left-hand side, I have a ukiyo-e. And at the back where I marked the red ring, you can see two of the hikyaku running fast, one or two in a pair. Okay. And then look at this next picture is again a very interesting postcard. Now you can see the horse rider coming to collect the post and deliver the post. At the same time, you can see at the back picture a red wagon when horse driven again, when a lot of mails have to be collected and all that. So Meiji era, they used this horse-drawn wagon to take it up. And on the right-hand side, you see the first made dragon stamp, a copy, replica of that, and also an image of the aircraft which was used first to deliver the post by airmail post. Okay, that's in year 1921. We have celebrated the 50th year of Japan Post. Now, Maejima-san, he was a statesman, politician, businessman who created a modern Japanese postal service advocating low-cost universal service and the use of prepaid postal stamps. He was sent to UK to study, and then he came back with an idea, and then he introduced this system. Maejima-san personally coined the Japanese word for post, Yubin. Stamp is kitte, postcard is hagaki, and is known as the Yubin Seido no Chichi. He is the father of the postal system, and his portrait graces the 1 yen stamp. If you see on the top, this is a folder, though I have shown Maejima-san small, it's a folder for 150 years celebration 2021. It's a beautiful folder, which we'll show you in the next week. And then down below is 1971 was the centenary of the Japanese postage stamps. That time this folder was released. Now, this postal system at that time, when it moved to 1 yen, before the time, I'll also show you next few slides, they used a denomination called sen. 1 yen is equal to 100 cents. Some of the postal stamps you will be interestingly, you'll see 13.5 cents. Like that, half was also used, and then 1 yen is equal to 100 cents. So from that sen, they moved on to yen. The yen was printed as en, not yen, en. And then it became yen. But at that time, the number was followed by 2 zeros. Okay. Now, if you look at this, is an interesting, historically very important thing in the postal system. Maejima's son was a man who was called as the father of the thing, but his first stamp was issued on 20th November 1946. If you look at this stamp, it's 15 yens, okay, 15 cents, not yen, I'm sorry. And then if you look at the watermark at the back, see these stamps, in order to, because they were not this thing, they were without perforation, printed, and anybody could forge them. So they introduced a watermark to have a security against forging. And then if you see the watermark is given there, okay, the technical sides of this stamp is given here, 1946 on the month of November, because it's year, month, date, okay. On the month of November 20th, this stamp was released. And then that time they did it with the offset lithography. The very similar looking stamp was released again in the August in the year 1947, just 1 year or less than 1 year again. But if you look at the watermark, it has got changed. Okay, wavy lines. One is called one up, another one is S type of wavy lines. So these are the two first stamps. But this was released in August. Immediately August 10th, 1947, the first 1 yen stamp. Still, the 1 yen stamp is being decorated with the Maejima son's portrait. So if you see, first time you get 100. Okay, 100. You know, we call these stamps on a regular use, what we use as definitives. This is a first definitive stamp to carry 100. Though the commemorative stamps on the 3rd May 1947, the same year, but a few months earlier, there was another stamp that was released, which also moved from yen, or without 00s, or how 13.5, 4.5 from that system to 1 or whatever is the numeral, followed by 00 system. Later on, the 00 was omitted. Okay, that's the first stamp with which it is there. So Maejima-san still is the one who is decorating the 1 yen stamp as an honor to his great contribution. He says number 1 in the stamp world. Okay, now there was a telecom ministry that was established commemorating that in 1949 on the month of June, 1st of June. This stamp was released. Again, if you see 8008 ends, it's a commemorative stamp because to commemorate an event, this was released, whereas earlier stamp was a definitive. So regularly like what we put on a post, on a cover, on a postcard, that's a sort of a stamp. Nothing commemorative, but it's a honor of that man. We see we have got many such definitives with a lot of people's faces in India. So that's why maybe we call in my language Tabal Talai, because Talai is head, everybody's head is printed there. Now, next, if you see, this is in the year 1946. So that time, the 4 stamps that were released together. Okay, this is supposed to be a bell. The bell he carries with him, and he rings a bell. People know that he has come with the post. They all come to collect the bell. This only if you see these stamps now, they're not multicolored. They're all single color. Orange is the color of the stamp, and it's a commemorative stamp. And then at that time, the postman called what you call as Yubin. Yubin is post. Yubin Rappa. The symbol for postal system in Sweden is a horn. Somebody will come and blow a horn, then everybody will gather to collect the thing. And then many other where horns are used announce the arrival of a post. Yubin Rappa is in Japan, a straight metal horn introduced as a standard equipment for post carriers. They would sound their hands where approaching a ferry crossing to alert the ferryman to have the boat ready, because they don't want to delay the thing. Punctuality is always very important. When traveling in the mountains to scare bears and other wild animals, they just blow the horn. There are also stories of carriers lost in snowstorms who blew their horns to alert rescuers of their position. Others use them to call for help when set upon by robbers or bandits. It seems that working for the post office was a dangerous occupation in those days. From 1873, Japanese mail carriers also carried pistols until they were disarmed in the year 1945. A part of history, I don't know how many people know about this thing. It was very interesting for me to read. I also got educated in the process of preparing this. Now, this founder of the Japanese system, Baron Maejima Hisoka, and he was sent to Great Britain, studied there, and came back. This is his stamp that was released as a commemorative stamp as a part of a set of 4 that was released on this thing in 1946. And then, okay, the postage stamp, Japan was issued on, and then if you see the 2 dragons there, this is the first stamp, they're facing each other. Image of the first stamp was issued. Today, there are Japanese philatelic societies in many nations. The most active group is in the United States, is the International Society for Japanese Philately, called ISJP, founded in Canada in 1945. Of course, I was thrilled to see that name, and I became a member of them. And these presentations are also carried down in their website for people to see anytime. And then there's a communication symbol of those there. You can see a dove, and then a flag, then later on the wireless and all that. So these are all issued as a part of a 75 years of Japan's postal services. For that, all the 4 stamps were introduced together to promote to make people aware that Japan has been, the postal service has been serving people for 75 years. There is a souvenir sheet that was made for this. It's again a commemorative one because they're commemorating the 75th year, and the technical details are given in here, and it's a 3 yen Japanese yen priced souvenir sheet. And 75th year of Universal Postal Union. Every country which is using post will have to become a 7th Universal Postal Union member, so that they all carry the same. If you all see, we all have a postal zip code. So this zip code must be understood by anybody all over. So the Universal Postal System has created a lot of common platforms for all the postal systems globally, and different countries can understand and work together. In 1874, Maejima hired a foreign advisor called Samuel M. Bryan, Dr. Samuel M. Bryan, actually, who was known as the creator of Japan International Postal Service, to negotiate postal treaty with the United States and assist in admission into Japan into the Universal Postal Union in 1877. To commemorate that, the 75th anniversary, a set of 4 stamps are released. So 2 of them you can see here, and you can see the technical details on this. But what I want to say is they are commemorative in nature and showing the theme-related pictures. And you see this, the same stamps. If I go back, the colors are changed. Okay, so it's a set of 4 stamps. The colors are changed. Again, if you see, the figures are still 2400. Still, we are maintaining the same system like that. And this is a souvenir sheet that is issued at that time. Now, the Universal Postal Union, established by a Treaty of Berne in 1874, is a specialized agency of the United States to coordinate postal policies among member nations, in addition to the worldwide postal system. The Universal Postal Union, in conjunction with the World Association for the Development of Philately, developed a WADP numbering system, WNS. Many of them have images which generally remain copyrighted by issuing country, but the UPU and WADP permit them to be downloaded. So this is the UPS Universal Postal Union symbol, so that I've shown. So Japan was benefited in becoming a member of that. And this again, Maejima, he still holds the prize worthy place of 1 yen. So, and you can see the postman's bell he carries with him on this. That is this sheet was issued during the 80th anniversary of the Japan Postal Services. 80th anniversary of Japan Postal Services is issued. Next, we see the UPU, Universal Postal Union membership, 75th anniversary took place. So to commemorate that, Japan introduced 2 stamps, again 00, okay, 2 stamps are issued, and one is deep blue green, commemorative in nature, another one is 5 yens and 10 yens. Now, if you see, 1961 was the 90th year of Japan Postal System. These were not really stamps, but souvenir sheets. But actually, whatever you can see there, they're all stamps already issued earlier, but very expensive for somebody to reach and get them. See, down below, you can see centrally down below, 3 birds are there. I'm still trying to get that 3 stamps. I'm finding it extremely, I got used stamps. But the problem with used stamps is, where do they put the stamp? So I'm even not able to see the figure of the birds correctly there. It's very, very expensive stamp. Not everybody can buy all of them. Okay, so they made this sort of sheet so that it can suit everybody's purse. But you can keep them as a keepsake, a remembrance or something. So I got all of them, of course, because they're very cheap. I got them. But the original stamps, some I have, some I don't have. All the 4 planes on the top, you see, I have all of them. But not the birds down below. The birds fly, planes fly, but one is within my reach, another one is flown away from me. Now, the postal life insurance was introduced also. See, Maejima-san has introduced a lot of things, postal banking, postal life insurance, all that. That's why he has become really the father of the postal system. Now, if you look at this stamp very closely, the 00 has gone. You have the number 15. Okay, so this is also yen, that is also yen. Okay, 15, not 00, 15 yens was the stamp, and it's a family life insurance. So you can see the team is represented by the stamp. Now, then comes the popularizing postal code system. Japan, if you know, has got 47 prefectures, which is equivalent to our states, and which rank immediately below the national government on the top. It's like our central government and state government, from the country's first level of jurisdiction and administrative division. Okay, they form the first. So each state is governing by itself, and then below that, the same like system. Postal codes in Japan are 7-digit numeric codes using the format N. When I say N, number, and number. So that's a 7-digit. Each N is a number. The first 2 digits of the N refer to one of the 47 prefectures. For example, 40 is Yamanashi prefecture. The next digit for one set of adjacent cities to the prefecture. 408, Hakuto Yamanashi. Then next 2 for a neighborhood, and the last are a street or city. That's why this has been made. So 408, 0301, 030 for the Mukugawacho neighborhood of Hakuto. So easy for the postman to understand where to go. And we always say, when you give a thing, they say, "Oh, sir, what is the landmark?" So the landmark, if you watch the postal system, then it will be easy. As a part of 192 countries of UPU, Japan introduced postal codes and popularized them. So people have to get used to the postal codes. Japan has to spend a number of years through number of postal stamps, everything, to popularize. What is that they have done? If you see, these are the stamps that were given to popularize the Japanese postal code system. Now, if you look at the 2 stamps on top, they both look alike, exactly color, everything is look alike. But the inscriptions that are there in that stamp, one is 11 millimeters, the other one is 12 millimeters. That's why they are called a settlement, not regular pair. If both of them got 100% everything same, they'll be called as a pair of stamps. Here it's a settlement pair because both exactly look like everything same, but there is a differentiation in the inscription between 11 millimeters and 12 millimeters. Therefore, this called. Now, these stamps are introduced to popularize the postal code system. They put the stamp, write the code, postal code, goes, people say, okay. So that's why all the numbers are there, and the stamps are designed like that. So now this is again introducing new postal codes by 1968. On the top, you have one side a set and pair, like what I've said. On this side, there's a booklet or a pen. So if you look at this, okay, it's all in one, this thing, a sheet of stamps is pasted to this. It's folded like a small booklet, and it can be carried. You can tear it out of that and paste it. But inside that, you have a second pair. Of course, if you look at it this way, there are two different stamps, so they also become second, and they are all different inscription millimeters thing. So they are certain in pairs. Now, if you see in this case, the blue one, there's a type 1 and type 2 because the inscriptions are different in type 1 and type 2. If you look at this, the inscriptions, what they've written here on the left and on the right, they are different. Therefore, they're all called a certain and pair. And then there's a national savings. Postal savings has already started, national savings. And if you see very interestingly, savings, again, wherever is the country, the stamp is normally a squirrel or what they call, whatever is the name by the thing which collects nuts. And also a small postal saving or a money saving bank, coin bank that children have. So they are the symbols with which the postal stamps are made. The stamp details are given here. Then it started in 1967. Now it goes on to 69 again. Therefore, new postal codes are being introduced with the different beautifully designed stamps. So people will see them repeatedly and see their new codes written, all that. Now, if you see this small pair of thing, it's got a margin with a printed number, and they're a pair of stamps. They're not certain, but they're a pair of stamps. And they have a margin also. That makes it a little more expensive than a single stamp for a collector. When you buy it, it is the same price in the post office. There's no change in pricing. And then the 16th Universal Postal Union Congress was held in Tokyo. To commemorate that, okay, they have released a set of 4 stamps. Look at the 4 stamps are here. One is this, the red one with all birds flying around the world. And then this is also, I've shown the same thing in UPU also. Somebody reading letter. That's a basic theme. With that, this is created. So stamp details are given down below. All the stamps, the 00s have been omitted, 30 yens, 50 yens, and 60 yens. All in the woodblock printing. UPU printing is made it very interesting. And then buildings and postal codes. Now, postal codes are there. Very interestingly, when I lived in Japan, if I need to have, I carry my card or something, if I have to go and get it validated, my address place is validated, I go to the post office. If I go not even post office, I go to the municipal office. For my small city, if there is a office, I go there. I tell them I am in this village. I stayed in not in a village. I stayed in a building whose name was Marunaka Village 2. And I told him I live in Marunaka Village 2 and showed him my credentials. He took and opened up a big map, and every building in that locality with all these numbers, everything was there on the map. So the municipal man could immediately find, oh, okay, you are there. That means this building is in existence, so I can approve you. So that sort of a thing. Building and code system came in 1970. Then popularizing code was going even in 1971. So if you look at how many years, so almost 5 years they have been promoting this. And then these are some of the beautiful first day cards, first day covers they've made for promoting this campaign. Okay, that's why they paste this stamp and send it to people so that they get excited to see this new idea of postal codes. And that's what the Universal Postal Union 16th Congress in Tokyo. Now, that's a very old photograph of the Union Postal Code in Tokyo, 1872 to 1902. I saw the old photograph and that's red. So down below, you can see a lot of people waiting with cycles, and also horse-drawn carriages are there. They're all waiting in front of the main post office. The people in the cycle, they're all employees to go to the office, and the wagons are there for them to collect post for delivery. Now, this is the other first day covers. Now, century of the postal system. The centenary of the postal system, or century of the postal system, okay, came in. So they released a set of 3 stamps. Now down below, if you see, that is a small souvenir sheet. A small booklet like thing. Inside that there was a sheet. I'll show you what it is. The centenary of postal service. They showed a mailman. The mailman is now different from Hikyaku. Hikyaku was running around with a loincloth, whereas this guy is different. Now, we also have a postal service mailbox. This is drawn by the school children, and the best one was selected. That's a mailbox that is there. The centenary booklet is down below given. Now, this is postal service, and inside the train, in those days, if you see, even in India, we used to have mail. Somebody will say, this Bangalore mail, Thuthukudi mail, some mail they will say. So normally the mail service runs in the evenings, so or the night. So the mails are collected, put in the mail service train, and then reaches the next destination city by the next day, so that delivery can take place. So Japan also had a railroad post service before the airlines became effective on that. So this is a stamp showing the railroad thing. That is a part of the Centenary postal service stamp set that is there. So these are the 3 sets of stamps that are issued. Now, if you see, there are 4 stamps in each one of them. They are with margins, and they are called as block of 4. The block of 4 is really supposed to be more valuable as a philatelic material. Of course, when you buy it in post office, you pay the same. 4 into 15, 60, you buy it for 16. But when you try to collect it as a philatelic material, it's going to cost you more. And of course, in Japan post office, you go and tell the post office person who is there to kindly give you this 4 in the corner. I'm always amazed with the patience with which they will handle such requests. Tear very slowly, very carefully the 4 and give it to us. So that's a very unique thing. And down below, I also wanted to show you one of the used stamps. A used stamp itself will cost less than an unused stamp, which is called as mint. But used stamp with a block is also quite good philatelic material to collect. Now, this is a replica which is issued. Earlier, I have shown you the replica of 4 valuable things. But now this is the first dragon. The dragon replicas are given for you to keep with you. It's not a postal material, but it's a keepsake with you. It's got no postal value, but you just keep with you to remember the centenary of the day. Now, the new postal codes, the first day covers are there, 1972. So almost for 5 years they were running on it. And then if you see, already the new postal codes have been introduced. Now delivery is taking place. People are going in cycles. See, if you look at men were running with loincloth, then horses, slowly thing, then men are running on a cycle, and then that's a new postal code being delivered. That's the first day covers for introducing new postal codes through the first day covers by mailing the stamps. These stamps are for introducing the new postal codes to people. Now, 1974, in the month of October 9th, the Universal Postal Union Centenary was celebrated, for which a set of 4 stamps. Actually, it's a 1 stamp, but I collected it as a 4. Used 1. Used 4 stamps is always good. And then there's a pair of 2 stamps one here, another one here. These two stamps I collected. And then they also had a souvenir sheet for the 1977 centenary admission to UPU, Universal Postal Union by Japan. The last one, if you see, 1974 UPU centenary. Now this is for the centenary of Japan getting admitted into UPU. So there's a small difference there. Now, the 150th birth anniversary Maejima-san. It's a very unique, if you look at this. In order to build up a position of strength, Japan, during Meiji era, started the acquisition of foreign technology, know-how, with the objective of reaching on par with Western nations as quickly as it could. Japan sent its own young men abroad to learn and experience firsthand how foreign countries have become so much better than Japan at the end of the period of self-isolation. Japan, if you know, during the Edo period, before Meiji government came in, when Tokugawas were, for almost 200 years, Japan was closed for outside connection. Nobody can go out, nobody can come inside, except for a small place in Nagasaki where it was open to people from Europe, especially Dutch, who could come there and do some business. That's all. The pistols and guns they got in, and then some of the Japanese products came to be known. That's why ukiyo aprons became popular, and then the artists went there to show. And one of those young people to sent abroad to study the system was Maejima-san. In 1870, he was sent to Great Britain for further study and include working for the General Post Office. Upon his return in 1871, his proposals for the creation of a postal system Japan was quickly accepted and implemented. The Japanese Post Office began operating in April 1871 with a daily service linking Tokyo with Osaka, with 65 post offices in between. Maejima also created a system of postal savings bank in 1874. 1877, it was admitted into UPU. And over the years, postal system was developed into a postal service at the bank assurance activities from 2007 into Japan Postal Group. Now, Japan Postal Group, it's a private thing. Now, as I told you, they are also having evening mails by which the train carried the mails, and when stamps were sent by train, that's called the Japan Railway Post Office, the 260 yen, 260 yen stamps were issued on March 26, 1987 to commemorate the farewell of Railway Post Office. With that, the Railway Post Office system was closed. In Japan, mail started to be transported by train in 1872. 1871, they started. Within 1 year, they started moving the thing. Railroad opened, the traffic between Tokyo and Yokohama. The railway replaced traditional, once again, I'll just. Tokyo is a place called Shimbashi and Yokohama. And Shimbashi, if you go today to Shimbashi railway station, you can still see in front of the station the old steam locomotive that ran that distance is still kept there for everybody's. I get really fancied with the steam locomotive. I used to go and stand there at least for whenever I go and watch that. The railway replaced traditional means such as human or horsepower to secure the transportation of mail. It's not at the outset, but in April the following year, the persons in charge of the loading and unloading started to work in train. In April 1982, mail started to be sorted within the train. Starting took place within the train, which means the framework of the assortment of transportation of postal matter was formed. Then the length of the railway post service line was extended from only 2 kilometers at the opening of the first railway and 38,000 kilometers around by 1950. But since the road network and the airlines have been developed and people have decided to speed more and more, Japanese are always in a hurry to get information because they think information is power, and that's true. Okay, so people have to share information. That's one very good thing I've seen in Japan. Information always shared. There are a lot of meetings when people not take decisions but share information, which is the main purpose of any meeting. And it became impossible for railway post service to meet the needs of people. So the transportation of mail by train, which has occupied a greater part of mail transportation system, closed its history by October 1st, 1986. Now, you see, I have to close here because I have another part two, which is equally big. And if I include that today, maybe we'll not be able to complete it within 1 hour. So I made it into two simpler forms. Today we have done about 45 minutes. So next week, another 45 minutes we'll do. So that 45 minutes are 50 minutes. So I made a part two on the same thing. And Japan's postal history of Japan's post through Japanese stamps. Part two will be done next week. Thank you today for being with me. And any questions, please do feel free to ask me.